What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Modern Mortgage Show, where I interview mortgage professionals who share their stories and valuable information about the industry. I'm your host, Rocco, and I'm thrilled to introduce my guest for today. His name is Charles McCulloch, and he's a mortgage banker at the McCulloch Mortgage Team with Hancock Mortgage out of Waco, Texas. Charles, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Rocco. Appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. So, Charles, let's start off the show with just a brief introduction. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about who you are.
Sure. I got into the business about 5 years ago. Prior to that, I was a financial advisor. I actually got into that back in 2008, 2009 timeframe. And I made the adjustments about 5 years ago because I was just able to offer the opportunity to help more families every month than where my financial practice was building. And so I approach it a little bit different than a lot of people. I approach it as a coach, where I'm giving, I'm helping people understand the process, helping people learn the rules, and then kind of coaching them through the process, giving them options to make choices and those kind of things. And I feel like that's been received really well. I'm also a coach. I coach my daughter's volleyball and basketball teams at their small private school here in town. And so I'm able to kind of pull a lot of the things together, coaching wise, into the business too.
Awesome. So yeah, when I was looking at your LinkedIn before the show, I was just gathering some information. I saw it said mortgage coach at the McCulloch Mortgage Team. So that's
Yeah.
an interesting spin on it.
Yeah.
So you said you've been in the industry for about 5 years now?
About 5 years.
Okay. So, and you were a financial advisor before that. What made you want to make the switch?
And I think the biggest thing for me is I was helping people plan, monthly budgets, and take care of some financial investments and some different insurance pieces. And that cycle of helping somebody is really a long cycle, and so just a really long pipeline, if you will. Uh, and so in mortgages, I'm still able to help them understand their finances a lot better. Help them if I need to help them with a monthly spending plan and those kind of things. But really, the big variable is I can help more people in 1 month accomplish a huge dream than I was able to, sometimes in a quarter, or even half of the year as a financial advisor. And it's still ultimately it's the largest financial investment that most people make. And so I still feel like I'm able to, just like I said, coach them through that process.
So what would you say is the biggest thing that translated over, like the biggest similarity that you're able to use in the mortgage in your mortgage business?
Yeah, I think, really the biggest thing is for me is I'm such a relational person. Um, being able to relate to somebody and understand what they're really looking for,
Hmm.
and then being able to give them options. A lot of times they just get told, oh, "Hey, this is what you have to do," and instead we try and present them with options. And so, as I was a financial advisor, we're presenting different mutual fund options or annuity options or insurance options. And so here we're presenting different, maybe a loan product option. We align ourselves with different companies that can provide insurance options and give them choices to make from there. So being a relational person, giving somebody options to make, I call it making a game plan as well. We're going to give you the game plan. We're going to help you determine what that game plan looks like so that you can make the best options when it's time to execute.
Absolutely, and that's where that whole coach thing comes into play, because
Absolutely.
you're coaching them throughout the process. You're advising them. You're giving them a game plan,
That's
and
exactly
then
right.
it's up to them to make their options or their choices. So
Absolutely.
you said you love to help people, and that's one of your main motivators for coming onto the mortgage industry. Um, what would you say is the most satisfying or rewarding thing about helping people, or about your job in the mortgage industry?
You know, I think the biggest.
Charles? We might have lost Charles. Stand by. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see if he rejoins. Give it a second. Charles, we got you back.
Hey, sorry, man. Not sure what happened.
Yeah, not sure. No problem. We'll keep going.
So I think one of the most rewarding things for me is when I'm able to help somebody and then they're able to refer their kids, and then their kids are able to refer their friends and so forth. And so that's been one of the biggest rewards, is just personal referrals. When you take that single mom and help her buy a house and get out of an apartment, that's been a big, big reward for me personally as well. Or anytime you're able to help a veteran. Both my mom and dad are veterans. My brother serves in the military now. And so anytime I'm able to help a veteran, that's always kind of a rewarding piece for me as well. So I think there's a lot of different variables when you talk about rewards.
Definitely. It's definitely a good feeling when you get a referral that just shows the appreciation they have for you, that and how you help them. So shifting gears here, what would you say 5 years ago when you first came onto the mortgage industry? What would you say were your biggest obstacles or biggest struggles that you faced early on?
Man, that's a great question. I think initially it was the learning curve of going from a mutual fund, learning how the mutual funds works, to learning how mortgages work. That learning curve was a little bit different than what I anticipated. But now I think, again, because I'm such a relational person, I still tell people I like to get kneecap to kneecap, elbow to elbow across a table and visit with you. And so that was, I think, 5 years ago, that was still happening. We still do it here in our offices today. With technology now, a lot of people can do things without ever even meeting somebody.
Yeah.
We do a lot of Zoom meetings now with what's going on with the virus and stuff like that. So that we're still able to talk to people and show people the process and help them to game plan. But I think the biggest thing would have been the learning curve, going from one, you're still in the financial industry, but going from one type of a financial product to a mortgage. And then, of course, man, mortgages change all the time. All the changes we have going on right now are pretty crazy.
Yeah. So to solve that problem, I'm assuming just time took its place and it solved that problem.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of, I really try and stay on top of as much as I can in regards to what's going on in the industry.
Yeah.
Utilizing resources that are put in front of us, which the internet made that fairly easy as well. But yeah, time and that learning curve got shortened. So yeah.
Awesome. So what tips or advice would you give to yourself? Say you were talking to yourself 5 years ago, or just a loan officer starting out. What tips would you give to him or to your younger self?
Well, one of the biggest advantages that I had when I started was one of my best friends is I worked for him in his branch, and he was a great mentor to me. And so I would tell me 5 years ago to push into that relationship, to push into somebody that can help you not just know the products, but know how the industry works and know how the people are going to work. And then finding that mentor and, just learning from them, and constantly, be asking questions, but also constantly be finding answers instead of just waiting for him to give an answer. Like use the resources available to find those answers.
Great answer. Absolutely. That's some good advice. A mentor and coach will definitely save you some time on that learning curve. So in recent years, technology has made its way into the industry. It's revolutionized it.
Yeah.
So how would you say this has affected you and your business?
I think it's definitely revolutionizing everything for us. Since we're so relational, we try our best. And I know I've said that a couple of times, but we've really tried our best to maintain that connection piece.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of things locally as far as business, but from a technology standpoint, it really gives us the opportunity to use our license across the state. So if I have a friend that's buying a home in Odessa, which is 6-7 hours away, we can still help that person buy that house. And so I think technology's really given us that advantage. But unfortunately, along with that, I think it also gives us kind of a crutch where it doesn't have to be. It can be more of a transaction instead of a personal relationship. And so even though we like technology and it works great when it works, we still, from the McCulloch mortgage team standpoint, we still really try and push in with that personal relationship with everybody. And that means, shaking somebody's hand or being able to give them a hug and, take a picture with them and stuff like that at closing and those kind of things. And technology sometimes makes it a little bit easy to get away from that.
Absolutely. Now, Charles, are you only licensed in Texas or are you guys in other states?
So Hancock Mortgage has branches all across the United States, but my license is just Texas right now.
Okay, cool. So are there any modern strategies that you're using that you're taking advantage of to either scale your production or maybe maintain better relationships with your past clients?
Yeah. So again, technology helps out with some of that as well. My mentor now has really taught me a lot about how social media works, and we communicate very frequently. Some of the other branch managers across the United States within Hancock utilize some of these same resources and tools, and so I try my best to maintain communication with them. But really, right now, to scale my business, I'm helping other people grow their business, and because I can help them grow their business, all I'm asking for is, as they get, asked about a mortgage that they would think about me and being able to help me out with that. And I'm not just talking about realtors. Obviously, that's a big piece of what I do is helping realtors grow their business and grow their presence on social media. But even I have a friend that has a car repair shop, and he sends me people as they're talking to him. Another friend of mine owns a restaurant, and so as he's got new people in touring, downtown, he's able to refer people to me as well. And so, technology is great on those aspects, but really utilizing social media to scale the business has been a big piece for us.
For sure. So how are you using your social media? You said
So I
you
think
were helping other people, like your buddy has a restaurant.
So I think a big piece of it is doing stuff just like this and going live
Yep.
frequently. And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, that Facebook really likes it when you go live, because ultimately, Facebook is looking at, or they want to capture the mistake more than they want to capture the scripted information. And so and just understanding how the algorithms work, making sure that you're engaged with your friend list, making sure that you're always making posts. But another piece of that is, you don't want everything to be business related. People want to do business with people that they like and they trust, so they need to know that you're a real person as well. And so my friend that owns the car dealership, or not the dealership, the auto repair shop, he may make a post, about helping out a family that needed it because their minivan broke down one time. What we tell people is 20 to 25% of your posts need to be business related. The other 75 to 80% need to be personal related.
Yeah.
So one of his personal posts may be a picture of him, smoking a brisket or something like that, because that's a hobby that he has, and he's able to relate to a whole different group of people when he does that.
Definitely. I really like that. Not just keep everything as professional and posting business, but more on your personal side as well. So
Absolutely.
are there any so how about in your internal business? Is there any technology you're using to systemize or organize your business?
Well, I mean, I think a big piece there with everybody, and what we're trying to tell people is, they got to have a good CRM or a good database management system of some kind.
Yeah.
And so I always get asked, what's the best CRM, and the answer is the one that you use, right? And so
Hmm.
you can spend a ton of money on it, or you can get a free version of something, but inside our office, we have a couple of ladies that help out, and they're always making phone calls and always making sure they hear a live voice, not just an email or a text message. And so, that's a pretty consistent piece for us. In regards to reaching our database, we try our best to make sure they're friends of ours on Facebook as well, so that they can see what's going on, and they'll make comments when other people buy houses and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that's the truth. The best CRM is the one you use because
Yeah.
it sounds great and all, but it's a lot of work to update and keep the deals moving throughout the pipeline and update information and organize it. But it's definitely the most effective tool if it is worked properly.
Right.
So Where do you see all of this going in the future in terms of technology in the mortgage industry?
Well, I think there's a lot of bigger companies that have a lot more money than I do that can do a lot more things than I can do. And so technology, if we let it, will take the relationship away from the transaction.
Yeah.
And so our biggest, our biggest game plan for our office, our local office, is that we want to meet everybody anyway, in some way, form, or fashion. And so, again, if they're 6 hours away or sometimes even 2 hours away, it makes it really tough. And technology works well when you can do a Zoom call or, be live or something like that. But I think, unfortunately, I think if we allow technology to take its course, that it could potentially take away the relationship piece that we all strive to have with our customers.
Absolutely. It's definitely good when the technology makes stuff easier and more simple, but the human element and the human touch must remain and must be constant.
Absolutely.
So let's go to the buyer side now.
Sure.
Working with your clients, what do you see as the biggest misconception or fear that your clients have before working with you in regards to getting a loan?
Really, most of the time when I'm talking to buyers, they feel like their credit score isn't as good as it needs to be.
Yep.
And right now, this, somebody may be looking at this, 3 months from now, and it may change. But I know a lot of investors and lenders are really tightening up on credit scores. But I have people that call me, and when I ask them, what do you think your credit score is, and they'll say, "Man, I really don't think it's that good," but they don't have a reason why. And so when we pull credit and they have a low 700 score, that's pretty good, and
Yeah.
people just don't know. And so I think it's an education piece of what the credit system actually looks like. That's probably the biggest hurdle that I get from buyers. The second one I would say is down payment pieces of the puzzle. A lot of people think they have to have a lot more money down than what they really do need to have. And so as we game plan and we look through the finances and the monthly spending plans and those kind of things, we determine which product is best for them in regards to down payment as well.
Absolutely. And that brings it all back to the coach. You're advising them, you're coaching them because people are either misinformed or they're unaware.
That's right.
And that's the biggest thing. So they don't know, they don't have any prior expectations or experience. So it really comes down to a knowledgeable lender who can coach them and educate them throughout the process.
That's right.
So what is the number one most asked question you receive from first time buyers?
The number one. So how much house can I really afford? I think is a big one.
Hmm.
And what I really do with that is I really push into, how much can you afford on a monthly payment? What does your spending plan allow? If somebody tells me they can buy a house and they can spend 14 or 1500 bucks, even though they could qualify for a higher payment, then what we really want to look at is, how much can that $1,400 payment work out, with taxes and insurance and those kind of variables in there.
Absolutely. So I really enjoyed talking with you today, Charles. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You
I
bet.
had an amazing time. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the viewers for watching. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you again next episode.